Hey, it's Mikey Mike. Hey, we're at Kiteboarding in Lake Isabella once again, and it was a great weekend. The winds were kind of crazy. They forecasted a lot of wind. Here's my tent set up in the car and my waterproof headphones. My little tradition here, go turn on my cameras, get all set, ready to go. At Isabella, you kind of have to fend for yourself a lot of times, not a lot of kiters, so self-launching here. So I'm down there positioning the kite. Got it tied off to the trailer over there. Getting it all set up here, and then run back to the trailer and get ready to launch the kite. So we have a carabiner set up. I got a nice big S-beaner from Home Depot that works really well. Has a nice big clip. Did get a little crazy though. I was having a hard time getting it undone one time. Our lines are a little bit twisted here, so we got to untwist the lines. And then I got to straighten out my little safety. I like to get it on the right side, and so there's no tangles or anything. And just kind of manage the kite as best you can while it's hooked up there. And then pull the big latch and hook it onto yourself and put the little dongle in there, and then launch the kite, and we're ready to go. It was a little crazy. The winds were between, I don't know, 20 and 30. And then a lot of times there was just a big lull spot to zero, and there was a lot of kites in the water. My buddy Andrew got caught downwind a little bit and had the little walk back. That was no fun. But I'm on an 11 meter with the 6.4 Edmondson's board, and I'm moving out, and I'm trimmed all the way in. It's going crazy. But on the way back, we kind of hit a lull, and a little kite fell out of the sky. So have some great footage of a we'll call it a assisted landing and launch that didn't go as planned. So you gotta wait till the end of the video. This is somebody helping me that said they kite surfed before, and it turned out pretty scary. So you can take a look at that at the end of the video. So we're getting into a lull spot right here, and you see I'm having to dive the kite real deep, and the water's getting real glassy here, and the wind just disappeared. But you can see it off to the side. It's there, it's just not here. So I jump off the board, and I figured, okay, I'm gonna go back and chase the wind. It was just right behind me. So you can definitely tell when there's not enough wind, there's no pressure on the lines and no pressure on the board. And so I'm going to try to get out of here as quick as I can. But as soon as I get the board on, it falls backwards on me. And that's a poop show right there. That's no fun. And now I'm trying to manage the kite, and I have it pulled in a little too much here. And it's just not, there's just no power. So I know that wants to fly if the bar's out, but I had a kind of feathering it in and out, and just waiting for the wind, just waiting and waiting and waiting, just trying to make sure I can try to keep my kite in the sky. And I know it's not looking good because it is not trying to fly. So Isabella's like this. It gets a little gusty and a little crazy, and then nothing. You can see nice glass. Oh, beautiful water, right? And here comes the kite, kind of doing its little thing, trying to fall out of the sky. And then it backstalls right into the water. And that's pretty much where I was the last time when I had to get rescued. So that was going to be fun if the wind picked up and just like start whipping my kite inside out. So I quickly grabbed my leash and hooked my board so I didn't lose that. And that became a little bit of a boat anchor once I got powered back up. So be careful with your leash and your board if you're going to try to use this technique. It's better than losing your board. So I'm swimming backwards trying to get the kite, to kind of respawn a little bit and get it up back on its nose, I guess, the leading edge. And nothing was really working. There was no wind. That was the problem. So I still had it up just enough. Just kind of backpedaling here, trying to keep it up. And I didn't want to end up in the mess I did a couple of weeks ago. But I'm not panicking. Everything's fine. Just got to wait for the wind, and it'll come back. I know it's coming back. So I'm trying to give it a little swim backwards just to kind of keep that tension in the lines. And I'm looking back I can see the wind right behind me, but it's just not where I'm at yet. and then you'll start seeing the kind of the ripples on the water when the wind starts picking up a little bit. So instead of pulling one of the sidelines, I decided to pull the center lines, which helps bring both sides up, and it worked out pretty well. So I'm just kind of waiting around, and you can start seeing the little ripples on the water. So I know the wind's coming, so here comes the center lines, and that seemed to do the trick. Kind of pulled that kite right up in the sky, and it fell over on its leading edge. And then just the normal regular launch here. But see how the board is kind of boat anchoring, and then it bopped me in the head. Fortunately, I had my helmet on and didn't get knocked out. So I'm struggling trying to get the board unhooked, because it's kind of a tensioned leash. So I don't know, I just don't like surfing with a leash, but it's great for rescue and you know, kind of these situations. So we get the kite going back up, and now we're back in business. So got a little wind here, and we'll just kind of wait till it builds just a little bit more. It'll build right up to 25-30 miles an hour, and you know, it's crazy. You know, 50 feet one direction or 50 feet the other direction, it's blowing cats and dogs, but right where you're at, nothing. So still having a great time, still learning new skills. You know, launching and recovering are always good skills to learn. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Still learning how to kiteboard, but getting better every session. So I definitely, you know, probably, you know, intermediate style, but it's working out. It's working out. About 200 and almost 270 pounds, and so it gets a little tricky on 11 meter. And dive the kite, and we're kind of working a little bit, and then we're back up and riding. And guess what? Here's the wind right in front of me, and it's going to be powered up. So I have to trim the kite in again. So from zero wind to cranking wind, and then you can see it's fully powered or depowered right there. Got it trimmed in all the way, and getting back towards the shore. We'll let the trim out a little bit, and we'll try a transition. So down loop jibe, make the transition here, and moving along pretty good. And then I'm going to try to go the other direction, and then it gets a little squirrely and end up crashing. And kind of a hot launch, but I was able to save that. I hit so hard that I made a wave, and it pushed my board right back to me, which was awfully nice. So the wind's still doing okay here. We're going to try to go the other direction, and I was having a little difficulty getting my board on my feet sometimes. My belly gets a little big, and it's sometimes it's just difficult. So for those people that are attempting to kite and they're overweight, it makes it a little hard. But yeah, just tricks of the trade. Swing that leg up, and I got to push the board away. And sometimes I don't get my other leg up high enough, and I hit the bottom of the board, and it flipped over, and now I'm laying on the skags, which was no fun. But got it flipped back around. So the best place to be is up on your board. So let's make this happen. And what I'm hoping is the wind doesn't just die here on me again. Push the board away. Now we're doing okay. Got the foot in the stirrup straps here. And there we go. So wind's still a little light, and then now it's picking back up. So trimmed in. Water was pretty smooth. There wasn't a lot of wind swell today. They forecasted for some serious winds at Lake Isabella, and the forecast was completely wrong. But it is what it is. I guess Bakersfield was a little bit too hot, and it didn't get that, you know, that change in weather. So another down loop jibe, going toe side here, and then getting a little squirrely again and make it the other way. And my lines are crossed, and then kind of a hot launch, and I go straight downwind, and I was able to kind of recover. And then there we go, got a little bit of speed, and then I'll unspin the bar, And all these little skills are definitely got to work on. So the more I do it, the better I get. Well, it seems the better I get. So here's where I think we're gonna go and self-land here. So there's my little S-beaner right there on the ground, and it's so big that it was a little tricky. I was trying to fly the kite, and it gets a little gusty, so trying to get it clipped into the chicken loop. And I had it backwards, and now I got it tangled on my leash, and you know, it just gets to be a nightmare a little bit. So you got to be real careful. So I got it hooked in, and now let the tension take the line that's your landing line, and then it's depowered and kind of a soft landing there, best you can, and then unhook. And then what I do is I kind of hold one of the lines just a little bit to kind of keep it a little stable. And I'm running really fast, and it's burning my fingers. And then I grab the kite, and we're good to go. And so that's a self-land. And the reason I self-landed, because there's not a lot of people on the beach that can help you launch. So you definitely have to build your skills up on that. And I learned a valuable lesson. Somebody was really helpful and landed my kite. He was a windsurfer. I asked him, "Do you know how to land?" And he said, "Yes." He said, "Yeah, I used to be kiter." I'm like, "Cool." So he landed my kite, and everything was perfect. I walked back in the water. He landed the kite, and a little bit later in the afternoon, I was doing another self launch, and he goes, "Hey, you want me to launch your kite for you?" And I said, "Yeah, no problem." Same guy. Look, he did that perfectly, nice and gentle, laid it down. So here's the self launch. So I'm going to get ready to self launch. And he goes, "Hey, you need some help?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Did a great job on the landing. Said he's a kiter. No problem. So I get to run up to the trailer again. And this is where things could have went bad really quick. So you can see him. He's waiting for me. He's got the kite down. And I'm trying to get my stuff together. And then everything's still looking good. He pulls the kite up pretty good. He's holding it pretty proper. And I'm just trying to get my lines untangled. And right when I got my lines untangled and get ready to walk upwind a little bit, he just lets it go and throws it, and it goes back about 30 feet, and that could have been a total, not a good experience. There's a bunch of rocks right down there too, so he's showing me like, "Hey, I threw it up." I'll have to show you how to do it next time. He's like, "Oh, I haven't done that forever." I'm like, "Yeah." That's okay. He was real helpful. I really appreciate the effort, and sometimes you just I thought that was gonna be a good choice. Well, anyway, this is Mikey Mike. Leave some comments down below. Lake Isabella experience. All right, man. Peace.